Okay, it's Memorial Day 2016, and I've been racking my brains trying to figure out what I could do to make something a little different for Memorial Day, which of course is to honor our fallen veterans. But I'd also like to celebrate our unfallen veterans. So I was looking for something that was common to just about, how shall we say, every branch of the military. So, the one thing that came to mind, which is what I'm making today, is something that I would almost imagine every soldier, Air Force person, Navy person can figure out. If you haven't figured it out yet, just by looking at the ingredients, you should. So we're going to start out here first with the roux. We've got 2 tablespoons of butter in here. And we're going to throw some flour in and cook it. Recipe's probably pretty close to what Dairy makes, just they make it in a little bit bigger quantity than I have. So we got here, we're just going to get the flour and the butter going. It's going to have to cook for a minute or two. Now, this is real butter, by the way, real flour. It may not be what they serve in the Army or the Air Force or the Navy or whoever. But we're going to get this cooking. Now, add this in a minute after it's cooked. We're going to 1 2/3 cups of water, or milk. Yeah. I like to say it's real milk, but it's 1%. So, but at least it's not powdered. We're just going to kind of get this going, let it cook for a few minutes. Now to add to this, we've got 8 ounces of chipped beef. Some recipes call for hamburger, but I decided at this stage to go with the real chipped beef. It's Armour, it's 4.5 ounces per can, and it's expensive. So, but that's the beef. The other roux cooking away here. And we're just going to make it a light roux. We're not going to brown it a lot. So it's just a kind of what they call a blonde roux, which is what we're going for. And you add the milk just a little bit at a time. And you pretty much see what that does. It really that little bit of milk in there really kind of thickens everything up. And just add a little bit at a time. One thing you got to do is you got to keep stirring. I mean, that's just the nature of things. That's going to thicken real quick. I'm going to start turning the heat down here a hair because it's cooked in cast iron, and cast iron doesn't like big temperature changes, you probably well know. Well, that's if you cook in cast iron. So what we got here is just a nice little white sauce going on. the rest of the milk. I'm going to add a little pepper to this. Yeah, good reason for that. This is sit for a minute or two. Now I'm going to do something a little different with this one because everybody knows it's called shit on shingles. Well, I'm putting a different shingle on here. Normally this would be served over toast, but I decided to change the shingles around here a little bit. So what I've got is this. This is called a Dutch baby. And it's called German pancake, but it's got a nice little center in there. I baked these a little earlier today. And that's what we're making dinner with. So, the next step is to put our beef in here. Now, I didn't put salt in this simply because this beef is like incredibly salty. So you don't need to add salt. We're going to kind of, now that we got everything going in here, we're going to kind of just mix everything all together. What's interesting about this stuff is it was probably reviled by a lot of people when they were in this service, but when they came home, they started asking for it. And you know who you are. So this is I used a real chip beef for this. Thought about using hamburger, but to me, that's kind of cheating. The big problem is getting the chip beef is that it doesn't seem like there's a lot of people out there willing to make chip beef these days, so, except for Armour. Which is, by the way, what I used. So we're just going to let this thicken for a few minutes, or a minute or two, and it's already doing very nicely. Then what we're going to do is we're going to scoop that into the Dutch baby. You could use toast for this. It's up to you. But I have to have a little taste. My mother actually used to make this out of the same ingredients that I'm doing. It was so good. You want to know what? It's still good. So let it thicken up for another second or two. Oh, that's nice. And we're just going to pour it in there. That's all there is to it. And the nice thing is, this is just the right amount. This should fit very nicely. And it does. And there we have it. So to all the people in the armed forces, the military, going way back when, this is probably something that's been around forever. I wish you a happy Memorial Day, and we have a lot of respect for you. Otherwise we wouldn't be doing this. Thank you very much for watching.